to fund education. We're supposed to do it. The state of Illinois has the responsibility to be the primary financer of education in Illinois. I take that constitutional mandate seriously. I think that we should fund education. I've proposed a 1% surcharge for education this year. That is all that I have proposed and all that I support. Anybody who works for me understands that's my proposal. That is the only proposal. There will be those out there who want to say, oh no, we don't have to raise the income tax to support education. Indeed, they want to cut education by $1 billion. That's their plan. He was asked a question about another plan, and the reporter from Texas misconstrued his answer. But I want to make it clear. I favor a 1% surcharge for education after cutting the budget of our state government by $3 billion. I've cut the budget more than any other governor in state history. But having done that, I do believe in education. I've said that every day this year. And I think a 1% surcharge on the income tax for education is the proper way to go for our economy, for fairness to taxpayers. The other guy, what does he want? If you look at his plan, it's a 10% cut in education. That's over $1 billion. Well, how do you make that up? Local property taxes will go sky high. Those property taxes are not based on ability to pay. We're already, according to every study made of the Illinois tax system, fundamentally unfair because we rely too much today on property taxes for schools. We should not do that and more in the future, in my opinion. You know, I stood in the well of the House. I spoke to the members of the House and the Senate on a budget day. I laid out in plain language a plan to rescue education in Illinois. That is my plan. That is my only plan. I believe that we can pass that plan very soon because I'm going to win the election on November 2nd, and people are going to realize in Illinois that we have a governor who tells the truth about everything. Not just some things. We've had governors who want to tell people what they want to hear. We have candidates who want to do that. I'm telling people the truth. If we want to have good schools and jobs follow brain power, if we want to make sure we lower our property taxes and not have them go higher, then we have to use the state income tax to invest in education. I'm willing to make my whole campaign based on making sure we have good schools in Illinois because they equal good jobs. There are those out there who have a plan to slash education, slash preschool, slash grammar school, slash high school, slash community college, slash special education. That's what the plan is. 10% cuts in all these worthy programs. It will harm Illinois' economy today and for years to come. And it's going to raise our property taxes, which make it harder to get jobs. A fair tax system is a better way to go, and that's what I'm for. I'm going to veto anything that isn't my plan, because I want my plan. I think it's the best plan. I just told you that, yes. No, this year, I laid out a budget. I tried to tell the legislators as clearly as I could that we need to save education from severe radical cuts. There are those out there that want to slash education by 10%, and I don't think that's right. And I think even in the budget that we have been able to get, we made a Herculean effort to save education, partly because I don't want to see local property taxes go up. You got to be careful with these apostles of no tax. When they talk, they have their fingers crossed because they know the local government is going to raise the property taxes on people for schools and for other things. I don't think that's the right way to go. I think the state of Illinois should use its income tax to properly invest in education. That's what I've proposed. That's what I'm standing by. If people want to vote for somebody who wants to raise their property taxes, vote for my opponent. I think the most important way to get Illinois moving forward is to invest in education because that's the best way to get jobs and keep jobs. We were here this week with Ford Motor Company. They could have gone to Indiana. They did not. They came to Illinois. They came to Illinois because we have a well-educated, skilled workforce. We cannot sacrifice education. If we do, we'll lose good jobs. And I'm not going to preside over that. There are those who think you can do everything for free. They don't have a plan, by the way. I'm out there with our plan to cut the budget $3 billion. The other people, they don't have a plan. They talk about cutting the budget. They want to cut it 10% across the board, including education. That means thousands of teachers lose their jobs. That means kids are in overcrowded classrooms, 35 kids to a classroom, and that means hard-working people who own a home have to pay higher property taxes because the state isn't properly funding education. I'm going to stand up for education from here to kingdom come, and I think that's the only way to go. You know, I don't think he should philosophize about taxes. I will tell him that. I don't think he should talk about any other plan than my plan. My plan is very straightforward. It's a 1% surcharge on the income tax, and that will be used exclusively for education. Early childhood, kindergarten, first grade, all up to 12th grade. Community colleges want to make sure we invest in special education. That's what I propose this year. That's what I stand by. That's the only thing I'm for. If people are campaigning against me, they'll say, Quinn wants to raise the income tax for schools. I do. I want to lower the property taxes for people who are paying unfair property taxes across Illinois. That's true, too. I'd like to see it passed as soon as possible. As soon as possible. I think the best way to get property tax relief to the homeowners of Illinois, to the business owners of Illinois, to the families and farmers of our state is to have the state do a better job at funding education. Right now, when they don't do that, my opponent wants to shift the burden onto the local property taxpayer. I've been out there for 30 years fighting for property taxpayers, and I'm going to continue to do that. We're going to fight as hard as we can. We want to make sure people know in Illinois this year, between now and November 2nd, that if you don't support the kind of plan that I've outlined, your local property taxes are going to go through the roof. They're backbreaking as they are. And so it's not right, it seems to me, for the state to not properly fund education because it's going to push the burden onto people who own homes and businesses and farms. No, I wouldn't say that at all. Matter of fact, I'm ready to, anytime people are ready to vote on it, I'm disappointed in the legislature. There are a lot of people who wanted to just say no to everything. What they did is they basically consigned property taxpayers in Illinois to having to deal with this issue, and I think that's the wrong way to go. Well, we have to build the support. There are a lot of legislators afraid to vote. I'm not afraid to take a position. We've had governors who haven't done that, and I think the people don't want that. I think they want a governor who fights for the property taxpayer. Every study of the Illinois tax system, every single one. I've been doing this a long time. I've been the commissioner of the Board of Tax Appeals. I was state treasurer. I was a revenue director of the city. Every study you look at about Illinois says we're a very high property tax state. It's an unfair levy. It's a 19th century levy. It's not based on ability to pay. It's funding the most important part of the 21st century, our schools. And I don't think we should have more property taxes for schools, higher property taxes. That's the wrong way to go. It's an unfair way to go. It's a regressive way to go. That's what my opponent wants. He wants to cut state funding for education by 10%. He's not for any kind of surcharge for education, no new money. And he just wants the local property taxpayer to have their back broken by unfair property taxes. I think if you